Hey guys, how's it going? Today what you are looking at is my GE glass top stove that I purchased from Lowe's somewhere between 15 and 20 years ago. And the only problem I've had with this stove up until recently is this plus button on the temperature and the clock setting and stuff. About a year ago, it started getting where you had to mash it really hard to get it to function. Sometimes you have to kind of push the edges and find a corner or something, but you got to really fiddle with it to get it to function. It's really aggravating, and I was looking into getting that fixed. But yeah, up till now, I've had absolutely no problems with this stove. Even the glass top on it is in pretty good shape. There are a few stains and scratching right here, but like I said, this thing's like basically 20 years old, and it's been used a lot. So I've been really happy with this stove. A couple of weeks ago, though, we were preheating the oven. We had some friends over, and we were going to make some stuff. And someone noticed that there were some sparks in the window, so we opened it up. And as you can see, the baking element in the bottom of it had caught on fire right here on this corner. And everybody was panicking. They didn't know what to do. I was thinking at the moment, man, I wished I'd bought one of those little fire blankets I'd been considering purchasing. You know, one of the little blankets you just throw over little fires like that, and kitchen fires that you just throw over and it smothers it out. So I'm probably going to get one now. But yeah, luckily enough, the element burnt off, kind of fell off in a couple of pieces, and it kind of burned itself out pretty quick. So we were pretty lucky there. But yeah, this baking element, like I said, it's been going strong for 15 to 20 years. So I think it performed really well. And the top right there, there's a broil element up there, and this is your bake element. And we considered purchasing a new stove. I thought, let's go look at stoves. So we went to the store, Home Depot and Lowe's and stuff. And then I started reading some reviews online, and I read a lot of complaints about the quality of these newer stoves and having, like the inner coating bubbling and flaking off and not heating evenly and all kinds of problems. So I started looking up repairing this, and come to find out, there is nothing to replacing this element, okay? I didn't realize how easy it was going to be. Basically, there's 2 1/4-inch, if I show you right here, there are 2 1/4-inch little screws right there that hold this element in, okay? And then on the back of it, it's just got some wires. It's going to be hard to see right here, but they just kind of push onto the ends of this element, each side of this element, and then this thing just pops right out. Now, I will point out that if you do decide to do this yourself, you want to make sure and turn off the power to your stove or unplug it from the wall. Probably be the safest thing to do. You don't want to hurt yourself because, like I said, you got like 240 volts going through this thing. Yeah, whatever it is, it's a lot, and you could kill yourself. So be sure and unplug it or turn off the breaker, and just make sure there's no power to the stove if you decide to do this yourself. But like I said, I watched some YouTube videos, and yeah, it's really simple from what I could see. A lot of people suggest, you just take those screws out, and you can pull this element out this way. As you can see, the wires are just connected to the ends of it, and you can do it from the inside of the stove. But you got to be careful. If you leave this, like I said, pushed up against the wall, you got to put some clothespins or something on those wires to keep them from retracting into the back once you unplug them from this element, because they'll pull into that hole back there, and then you're going to pull your stove out anyway and take off the back panel to get to them, which is what I did anyway, because I decided, I need to clean under the stove anyway. So I went ahead and just backed it out, and I'll show you on the back real quick. But yeah, I just went and backed it out, and I'll show you in the back real quick if I can. There's not much room in this kitchen to get back here, but I took off this little back panel. Okay, there was only like 5, 6, 7 screws, and it just kind of snaps in place right here. And if you look down here is your element, and I've already disconnected it, but the orange wire, it just pushes on this side, and the other one, like right here, just pushes on the end of the element on that side. And yeah, and then just pulls right out, and you replace with a new one, and then just push these wires onto the new element. So it's really easy. And so I started looking at price of new elements, and the factory elements from GE ran anywhere from like $75 to $90. pretty much everywhere I looked. So I started looking at the aftermarket brands. And of course I went to Amazon, and I decided to order one from Amazon. I found some, you know, anywhere from $25 to $32, okay? Now, most everything these days is made in China, but I did find the this element that I ordered right here. We're gonna open this box up in a minute. This is the brand Prysm. It was $32.99, and it's made in Mexico. And I'm pretty sure I remember reading somewhere on my stove one time that the stove was actually made in Mexico, okay? And if I can get something that's not made in China, I kind of, you know, I prefer it, so. But yeah, I purchased this from Amazon. Now, if you're curious about the model of your stove, you know, there's a million stoves out there that look just like this one. And if you're curious, if you have a GE stove and you're looking for the model number, right here is where it's at on mine. It's kind of hard to read it down here, but there's a little label right there, right in that section right there, and that's where the model number is to this stove. But it's kind of hard to read, so I wrote it up here. And this is the stove I have. It's a GE model number JBS 55W0K1WW, okay? And I looked up the parts for this stove, and this is the bake element. Whoops. This is the bake element number that I ordered that, you know, fits my stove. And if you need a broil element for this stove, and you have the same model stove, this is the broil element. It's just, this is a 10 and this is a 9. That's the only difference. But this is the part I ordered, and it's supposed to be an exact replacement for this bake element right here. So we're going to take this out, and we're going to compare them. Now, I looked at a lot of different brands. There's a lot of aftermarket brands out there, and they'll give you little dimensions and kind of show you how big their element is. And I noticed that when I kind of measured this Prysm brand, that its measurements look like they were pretty much exactly like this one, where some of them were like, I believe this bake element is 18 inches wide, I believe, and so is the Prysm, but a lot of them were like 17 3/4 or just a few inches short here and there, a couple, you know, a quarter of an inch off. I wanted something that was pretty much exact fit, especially the width of those two back holes. I want those wires to be exactly the width of the holes they fit into. So I went with this Prysm one, not only because it was made in Mexico, okay, but also when I read the reviews, this is the brand that sold the most, had the most reviews. It had like 5,300 something reviews, whereas a lot of the other ones had hundreds or 80 or 30, you know. They hadn't sold quite as many, and this seemed like the most popular brand of bake element for my stove. So I decided to go with this, and I read on a lot of the reviews that a lot of people, no matter which aftermarket baking element they chose, they only lasted at most maybe a year or two before they had to replace them, which is kind of weird because, like I said, the one that came in this stove lasted like almost 20 years. So I'm not sure if it's, you know, I'm sure they're not the same quality, but hopefully it'll last long enough. So yeah, we're going to take this out. We're going to open this up. We're going to take it out and look at it and just kind of compare it to the one I've got and see if they're the same size. So if you're considering purchasing one of these, you know, you can see what's going to come in this box. So, sorry, I'm breathing hard. I've been cleaning the floor and stuff. So, but yeah, we're going to take this outside and just compare them real quick, okay? And just see what it looks like. So, let's get this box. Let's set this here. Let's pull this out. Like I said, I already disconnected the wires earlier. There was just, like I said, there's just 2 screws. And then, as you can see, those wires, that orange and whatever, yellow wire, whatever, they just push right on the ends of these elements. And it's that simple. So, I'm not going to do a video where I, you know, install it and uninstall it for you. There's just not enough room in here, and I got other stuff to do. But I thought I'd take this out and open it up and have a look at it real quick. So, if we see if we can squeeze through here. Not a lot of room. Let's try and get out here and open this thing up. Shut the door. the air conditioning goes out. So here we go. Yeah, let's just set this up so y'all can see what I'm looking at here. We'll just see what this thing looks like and see how similar it is, or see if it's bent up or beat up from shipping or whatever. You know, like I said, this is the original GE element. We're just going to cut this open real quick. Let's see. Cut it open on the end, it opens on the top. Alright. Make sure you can see what I'm looking at. And yeah, the kind of disappointing, there's no, you know, styrofoam peanuts or any kind of padding to keep this from banging around in here or anything. Kind of disappointing, but regardless, let's flip this around so you can see. Right there it says Prysm on it, okay? And the part number, so it is the right part number. And we're going to open this up and just see what it looks like. Looks like the tag just tears off right here. It's hung up a little bit. And that's sticking on these little metal tabs in here or something. There we go. Okay, so there it is. Looks to be the same. It is a little, let's set this right on top of it and just see what it looks like. See how closely it matches it. Yeah, it looks pretty much identical. This one might be just a hair. Of course, it's broke right here. It's hard to say. You know, it wasn't held together right there. It's broke off. So it does look to be pretty much exactly the same size. I notice a little difference right here where the little feet are. This has just got like a little wire bent down, whereas these have some type of like a little metal tab. I mean, it's no big deal. There's a little difference. And I do notice one little difference on the plug-ins on the end of it. The little bushings right here on this one are white, whereas on the GE one, the little rubber or silicone bushings are red, look like an orangish red. But as I line these up, I'll turn them sideways so you can see, it looks to be pretty much identical. The links look very similar. These actually look like they might, let me put this one on top. They look pretty much identical. The angle on the original one might be a little bit steeper, but I think the length is pretty well, it's pretty much going to be a good fit. So yeah, guys, looks to be the same size. Let's see the width of the holes. Let's flip this over and line up the screw holes and the wires. Yep, everything's exactly, the screw holes and the element width of the wires right here is all exactly the same. So this should work. I hope it does. Like I said, the factory ones were like $70, $80. Some of them $90 from GE, and it looks to be an exact fit. So yeah, guys, this is again is the Prysm bake element from Amazon. It only took a few days to get here. I think it was like 3 days, and it cost me $32 versus the $90 for an OEM part from GE. Hopefully it lasts just as long. I have my doubts, but hopefully it lasts just as long as the GE factory one that came with the stove. Also, the thickness of the element feels at least as thick, maybe a hair thicker than the stock element that came with the stove. It's at least as thick and maybe a little thicker. It's really hard to tell, but it looks a hair thicker to me, but I could be wrong. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a good fit. So I'm gonna clean my stove a little bit, and then I'm gonna install this and, you know, try it out. And if it performs really well, I'll give it some time. And if it performs really well, I'll come back and do another video for you guys and let you know, if it lasted or if it didn't, and what kind of problems I had with it. If it heats up quickly or takes longer to heat up, or just any kind of problems I have with it, I'll do another real short video and just tell you about it. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and better yet, subscribe to the channel and come back and check and see what I got later, and see if there's anything interesting that you'd like to learn about. So appreciate you taking the time to watch my video, and I hope you have a good day, guys. Thanks for watching.